Okay, guys, this next section and the one that's going to follow it is easily the most important thing that you are going to learn in this entire series of videos. And I want to emphasize what this is and then why it's so important. So what we're going to do right now is go over every single possible button that you can click within a List Reports account. We're going to do it for both the lender and both the agent. And the reason why this is so important to understand at a very intimate level is as you naturally progress throughout this training process, you're working your way backwards from a user experience. So to be able to know exactly what every button does and what the potential is for every single account, naturally, it makes it easier to help people out when you're back here. So hypothetical situation. Someone says that they want to change a price on their marketing materials, but they don't know how. If you know that it is a few seconds away from completing that request within the user experience, you know how to actually respond to something like that. So that's just one iteration of many, and that's why we're going to go through every single possible button that can be clicked and exactly what it is, so you have a nice record of what these are. So let's go ahead and get started and explain what every single thing is. So I want to start out really just on the dashboard here, and let's start out by looking at this little video here. On every single page, there's going to be a masthead video, and what will happen is if someone presses play, we're going to give them an overview of what this thing does. We're not going to watch this entire thing, but I want to give you an idea.
Hey there, I'm Ryan, the Director of Product Development here at List Reports. In this short video, I'm going to teach you how to use your dashboard page, as well as pair with your agent partners here on List Reports. Let's get started. When your agents accept your invitation, List Reports will automatically create and send completed marketing kits as soon as their listings hit the MLS, open houses are scheduled.
So you get the idea here. What the video is always going to do is summarize what someone should do on that page or things that they might need to know. There's going to be one of those on every single page. Let's jump into the new list report button. Every single time a lender wants to get a marketing kit from us, this is where they will put in a request manually. When you click it, it's going to open the List Reports submission page where you're going to see another masthead video that explains specifically all the details about this page. And then we're going to go into everything else. So the first thing is this property address field. When someone wants a list report on something, what they need to do is give us an address. And they're going to select this from this Google validator, which you're seeing right over here. Quick note, once somebody clicks this, what's actually happening is we're putting a pin in this location, and that's going to be what helps create some of the infographics materials. This is where it all starts. The next thing over here is going to be this unit field. So if there is a unit number, or it just says number or just unit, that gets entered in over here on the right separately from the primary address. There's always a primary address on everything and anything. Then you have this drop down over here. This is going to have, this is going to give the user an opportunity to put what this listing scenario looks like. So in this case, this is an active listing. Is this a pre-listing? Is it a FSBO? Is it a new builder construction, under a contract, something that already sold, something that's off market or other? So you can kind of say what that is, and those might open up additional fields, which we're not going to get into because they're pretty rare right now. This next thing is a reference field, reference URL field. So what will happen is when someone wants to give us a reference link, for example, they want to give us a link from the MLS or Redfin or Realtor.com or Zillow, they can put that in here. And what this does for the production process is it has them actually do kind of like a double check. And it says, hey, this is what everything should look like. Please make sure you're double checking your work. It's not required, but if somebody does put it in, then it's going to be there. The next thing is going to be this agent field. So someone is always going to need to give us an agent over here. And what will happen at this point is a couple options. One, there's going to be lots of different agents, potentially lots of different agent profiles. When someone wants to say who the agent is going to be on this list report, they're going to click select. Now I want to really quickly jump into something different over here and make up a name over here. Let's say that I'm looking for a Tom Smith, but none of these are my Tom Smiths. There's this button down here that says add new. So I can manually enter all of Tom's information over here to create a brand new record of Tom. A couple other buttons that are within this. You see an upload, you can upload a headshot. If you want to upload their logo, you can upload their logo, or just say never mind, means I'm canceling it out. Another thing to mention, we have about over a million agent profiles, agent records within our system. Let's say that somebody doesn't like one particular thing about one of the agent records. For example, that person recently changed their company and we don't have that record reflecting yet. What you can do when you're requesting a list report is you can click this edit button, and on just this individual list report, you can edit what that information is going to be. It doesn't mean that it's going to apply to future ones. There are other rules around that, but you're able to change it just on this particular thing. Okay. The next thing to jump into is the property details. So every once in a while, when someone wants to request like a list report from us, is a great custom list report from us is a great example of where you might actually manually enter in this information. So maybe we don't have the MLS data on something like this. Someone can go in and plug in all the information such as bedrooms, bathrooms, stories, what kind of a home this is, put in a price range, type out a description. And what will happen is these pieces of information will reflect on the list report request. The next thing here is additional agent info. So if someone wants to enhance the materials to its fullest potential, someone can take the time to write in an agent biography, add in a video clip for that agent. Maybe they have a video biography or video testimonial in. They can throw that in and it'll get enhanced on the single property website. It'll start being its own individual slide there. You can add in a testimonial for a past client. So if someone wants to take time to enhance the materials with, really polishing off to its fullest extent, someone can go ahead and do that. The next thing here is the photo selection tool. So this button right here, see sample, brings up a pop-up of what someone is actually doing over here. So this hero image is the main image 2 and 3. So there's a couple options to basically select what those are going to be. And you can do this by either uploading a file or you can drag and drop an image over here. A quick thing to note, if this is an active listing, we might already have the data waiting here, and they can actually select from the particular photos that we already have on file. So that's going to be the photo selection. The ability to customize your flyers. There's a couple different customizations that can be done over here. When you select from this dropdown, you have 2 options to actually customize. The first one is adding open house info. Let's look at what this sample looks like. Bright banner shows the date and times for these open houses. You're seeing that from here, you have a drop down where you can select exactly when this open house is going to occur. And a quick thing to mention is there's this add date. So if you're doing it, if you know someone's doing an open house during the weekend, you can add a date and it'll apply a second date. Quick note, every once in a while, someone's gonna say, hey, how do I add more than 2 dates? Maybe they're doing it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can't do that. We're limited to 2 days here, okay? So that's one of them. The other one is adding a custom promotional text. And what this is in that same banner, you're highlighting something different about the house. So in this case, you're saying remodeled and move-in ready, but it could be events. Are you doing a raffle, or do you have champagne? Do you have wine, cheese? What do you have going on at this? You can highlight an event. So that's seeing the sample. Quick thing to mention, as you're typing things out, hopefully you're taking note of this character limitation going down. You only have a limited 45 characters within this field before you run out. The other customization that can be done under number 5 is going to be adding a color theme to the marketing kit. So let's start out by looking at this view themes option. This takes you to a separate website where we have every single one of our themes notated. Every big brokerage is already built out, and then we already have some generics. So we will cover people one way or another, whether it's a mom and pop shop or whether they're working with a very popular brokerage. When someone wants to select something, like let's say in this case, I'm a Century 21 agent that I'm requesting this list report for, you can easily change it here and change it here. And then this will apply to this list report request. And then I want to mention something about this, make this my default color theme box. This is a little bit unintuitive, but what happens when you check this is in your account, it's going to say that that's what your default color theme is going to be. Now, that's important for an agent more than it is for a lender, but we'll look at that in a later video. But just know, if a lender checks this here, and if they say, I'm doing Century 21 and make this my default color theme, it means I want all of my list reports to be Century 21 color palette themes, and most of the times they don't want that. So just know that that's what that is. This next thing here is an optional loan scenario. This is only available on certain accounts where we give them the ability to actually add on payment flyers as an extra asset. This is a separate open house flyer that puts in a loan scenario. And what happens here is someone has to put in a loan amount, someone has to put in a interest rate, someone has to put down discount points and fees if they apply, and then they have to select a term, which could be 15 or 30-year fixed. We don't give any other options besides those, so it's a single loan scenario. I want to mention what this bottom section is. They have 2 options to get this extra asset from us. The first thing is this box right here. When you check this off as a lender, you're releasing a liability for actually using this. So if within the industry, there's lots of rules around showing people the actual numbers for a loan and things like that. So if you check this box, you're saying, hey, I am good to actually use this. So if a lender wants to know why they didn't get this generated for them right away after putting in this information, might be because they didn't check that box. Very important detail. The other thing is this or and below, where you have to enter your compliance officer's information, their name and their email address. What happens in this other scenario is if I'm a lender and I'm trying to get this open house flyer with payment details, but I'm not sure if I have approval to use this, I will put in my compliance officer's name and their email address in here. And what will happen is when this list report's complete, it sends that compliance officer an email and it says, hey, take a look at this. Is this approved? They will approve or deny it. If they approve it, then that material gets generated and added to my list report. Most of the time, this box is being checked to bypass that because most of the time on a compliance level, usually it's approved from the top on larger books and things like that. So that's going to be the loan scenario. The next thing is co-marketing. When someone wants to remove themselves from co-branding, like a lender would want to do that, they would uncheck these boxes and it's going to only feature the agent on those particular materials. A miscellaneous rule you should know about right now is when you uncheck yourself from co-branding within one of these marketing assets, you're also, as a lender, removing your ability to have visibility into the actual leads that get captured. I want to make sure that's understood. So let's say that I remove myself from flyers, the co-branding on flyers. When someone uses the text to lead code, potentially from a flyer like that doesn't have a reusable short code where we wouldn't know where someone came from, you would miss out on a notification over there. The final thing is this special instructions box. So someone can write in when they want a particular park to be featured, a particular the address to be displayed differently. Someone can request to have a 5-photo flyer made, which we haven't really gone over because there's not a function or way of actually showing that, but it replaces the flyers, the 2 boxes that have bedrooms, bathrooms, with additional photos. So someone can write in requests here, and the ones that we can accommodate, we'll be able to do that. Button down over here, these 2 we're not going to really go over because cancel is obvious. It just cancels this list report request. This update means we want to encourage people to select their own photos, because if they select their own photos and they have a headshot and logo, they have an opportunity to expedite the report, which means that when they hit submit over here, instead of it going into the queue to have us finish it, they can get the report back in literally 2-3 minutes. Submit button puts in this entire request in. Okay. We're moving back to the dashboard. We went down the entire rabbit hole with new list report. Let's move on to this next thing over here. It's going to be the invite button, easily the most important button that we have for lenders right now. Quick thing to mention before going in there, same thing. We have a certain video just for this because we want to make sure people know exactly what they're doing. Similar to the masthead video here, it's just a pop-up that will show people how to use the invite button. So when you click the invite button itself, there's a search field to find agents that you want to partner with. I'm going to first show you what things look like using a couple different types of accounts. So first thing is, when you search for someone, what's going to happen is you're going to see profiles come up. Or if you're not seeing what you anticipate seeing, similar to that new list report request, there's an add new button. So you can click add new, and you're able to plug in all of that agent's information manually, and then you'll be able to then send out an invitation to them. Now, there are a lot of other buttons here. I'm not going to get into this quite yet because I'm going to get into it in just a sec. So let's move on to the next iteration. The next iteration is you want to invite an agent. And what happens when you want to invite an agent who's already partnered up with someone? Like, I have an agent account and I'm partnered with my own lender. The opportunity to invite an agent actually is not there. So this will always be highlighted here. If someone's ever saying, hey, I'm curious about this person over here, if they're partnered up with someone, you can reverse engineer it from here. Then what else are you looking at here? You have all of the agent's information, you have all of their productivity levels, and then you've got this little section over here. So I want to mention exactly what this link is. This is a nest, we call it a nest link, not to be confused with Nest, the website, but it's a unique invitation link. So what I can do with this website with this link is I can send this out to anybody that I want to have a personal sign-up experience that is different from the invite mechanics. So invite mechanics, if I invite this person from here, they're going to email, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. And they have to click a button inside that email to finish setting up their account. Now, what I can do with this actual link over here is, outside of list reports, I can take this link and I can write a personal email, or I can text this link out to agents that I know and say, hey, I just signed up for this cool thing. Check out this link, click it, sign up. So you're going to get partnered with me and get free stuff. So this is a unique link to sign people up. Cancel is cancel. Don't need to explain that. Copy allows you to copy this actual thing directly here, so you can go straight to pasting without highlighting and then doing Command C or Control C, depending on what kind of computer you have. Okay, so this is what you're going to see when someone's already partnered up. What about when someone's not partnered up? I'm just going to put in a random name. When someone's not partnered up, which is probably the more common scenario when people are looking for the agents that they work with as a lender, is you're going to see this over here, this red invite button. This is going to say send invite to agent. And when somebody clicks this, it's going to send an email to this person, and it's going to say, hey, partner up with me on list reports. I'm going to show you what that looks like now by looking at this View Agents Experience. If somebody clicks View Agent Experience, this is going to walk them through what it looks like. And it's going to say, this is what your invitation email looks like when it gets sent to their inbox. When they click the red button, they're going to be sent to a sign-up page. Most of this information that we're going to need is pre-populated. They just need to add in, I think, like a password. The third thing is that they're done. It's that easy. After they've requested a particular webinar time, they land on their dashboard, they're ready to rock and roll. Now, if someone clicks Send Test to Self, it's going to do the same thing that this link down here is going to do. It's going to send an email that is going to give an example of what this canned email is going to look like directly to their personal email that is on their account. So if I'm a lender here and this says rod@primelending.com is my profile email here, then it's going to send a test version of this exact email that would go out to Keith to my email over here. Okay, got it, means okay. Send test to self, exactly what we just discussed. View agent experience we discussed. Maybe I don't want to send him this canned email from the system. I want to send him some personal. I can use this link here, copy it, send him a text instead. Cancel is cancel. Okay. That is going to be how you invite a agent. The next thing here is going to be pending invites. When you click pending invites, what you're looking at is going to be any invite that you have sent out to someone, the status of that invite, where we will update when this email has been opened or clicked by event. We're going to have it timestamped with the particular date that occurred. We're going to say which type of an invitation it was. It might have been an enrollment. It might have been an email offer. So when you have a completed list report, which I'm going to show you later, there's a send offer button to connect with an agent that way instead of the direct invitation or instead of the unique link. And you also have this manage drop down here where you can resend this invite. So someone says, oh, I didn't receive it. And you wanted to resend it right in that moment to kind of watch it while they're standing right next to you. You can resend it here. Or if this person's not interested, maybe you need to delete this from the system altogether. You can click delete here. It's going to delete it from your pending invites. The other buttons that are there we'll elaborate on a little bit later, because what's happening when you click this and this is it's moving you to your relationships tab. We'll cover that at a later time. What happens when you click your paired agent? You're going to see the agents that you're actually paired up with here. In this case, you've got an agent here. It's going to show you the date that they're added. There's this paired columns, paired agent header here. By the way, when you see different agents that you're in the process of connecting with, or that you failed to connect with, or that you have connected with, the way that you're going to know someone's partnered up is this green dot. If it's filled in with green, then you know that that person's partnered up with you. If it's not green, that person is not partnered up with you. It might be pending, or it might just be someone that you're following, which we'll get into a little bit later as well. Couple things you can do when you're going to go in here. And again, we're not going to go through all these buttons over here because we will later. When you click view, it's going to show you all of this agent's contact information, all their stats. If they have any listings that are active over here, you're also going to see that. So you can request list reports from these pre-populated listings that are here. You can see this person's actual activity feed, just this personalized one. And then also you can add some notes over here. Those aren't used very often. Okay. The next thing we're gonna go over is going to be the actual list reports. I wanna jump this active buyer network because this is its own animal. So we'll revisit this at a later time. So let's look at what our series of list reports looks like. First thing is, these are all of the active list reports that you have on your dashboard. It's going to show you the agent, the company, their contact information. It's going to show you their specific listing. It's It's going to have the date that it's been added. You're going to report status. Based off of the symbol here, it's going to tell you where this report came from. If you're seeing this exact green square with star here, it means that whoever the account holder is requested this list report. So me as a lender here, I requested every one of these list reports. Now these might look different. So I want to tell you what the other ones look like. If this is a green report like this, but it has wings on it, that's going to mean that autopilot requested that list report. That means that the system requested a list report on behalf of the lender. That's an important thing, behalf of the lender. But that the lender did not request it themselves. The other thing that might be there is a gold ribbon. Gold ribbon means that your partner requested a list report. So if I'm partnered with Jane Realtor and Jane went into her own account and requested a list report, this would be a gold ribbon. Then you have offer status. I hinted towards sending an email offer out to connect with an agent that is similar to invite, but you're sending the entire marketing kit to connect. If you're sending that out, you're gonna have this offer status filled out with something where you see here that this says it's been opened. It might say that it's been clicked or something else. Okay, so that's what those headers are. I wanna mention what these two things are before we go into actual list reports. First thing is, these are all of the list reports that you have that are active. Now, if every once in a while, when you're done with a list report, you're supposed to archive it. Archiving it means I'm done with this. So this home sold, you're gonna archive it, generally speaking. What if you need to go look at all of your archived reports? From this drop down over here, you can go to your archived reports and it's gonna show you all of the list reports that you have that are no longer relevant to you, but they might be later, you never know. Then you have unopened list reports. I don't ever use this, I don't think anybody ever does. But that's gonna show you when you've sent an email offer out to someone and they haven't opened their email. Now, the other thing I wanna show you is the search bar. If you're super duper active and you're having trouble finding a particular listing, imagine this having 100 list reports over here. Well, I'm looking for 33 Vernal Springs. Maybe I don't remember what the street name is. You can type in something here and it'll filter it down. So you type it out, you click enter, it starts to search. Let's jump into these next couple things. This drop down you saw about archive already. Then there's the ability to edit this list report. There's lots of changes that can be made on a list report, and we're gonna go over all of them extensively, but I want you to know this is one way of doing that. The other way of doing that is within the list reports detail page. You're gonna hear that term every once in a while. When you click view, it's gonna bring you to the details page. This is where all of those assets are. And we're going to deep dive into every one of those buttons in a little bit. I wanna go back just a sec over here, just kind of summarize. That's gonna be all of the buttons and how deep those things go over here on just your dashboard. Lots of buttons. Okay, let's jump into the actual detail page now. Within a detail page, there's lots of different things that you can do. First thing I'm showing you here is, I only want to show you one thing here before we jump to a different list report, and that's this part here. The send offer button is not red. Usually when we want someone to click something, it's red. Similar to the invite, you saw that if I try to invite myself, it's not gonna let me do it because we don't allow people to partner up with agents who are already partnered up with a lender. So in this case over here, it just says, hey, sorry, you're unable to send this offer because this agent already has a paired lender. Those pop-ups come up when you try to highlight this. Let's go back a little bit and look at a different list report. And that's gonna be this one over here. Now, when a list report is generated for an agent who is not on the platform, What's going to be happening instead is this is going to be a red button, and it's going to say send offer. When you click it, it actually is going to send out the email for this particular marketing kit to this agent to get them to try to connect with you onto the system. Let's look at what that looks like with this preview offer. Similar to the invite, this is walking someone through the process. They're going to see a preview of this open house flyer, the information about the home, information about list reports. Then there's going to be this landing page where it gives them a better view of that particular flyer here, and they're able to then fill out a password to finalize creating an account, and they're going to land on this detail page on their new account. Similar to the invite, if you want to send a test to yourself, you can do that. If you want to send this actual email to yourself as a test, then you can click this button, send me a test email, and it's going to fire exactly what this email looks like to the person's personal account email. I want to show you what this looks like really quick. I went to my inbox, and this is the actual experience that someone's going to get here. Okay, so this gives you an idea of what we're looking at. I'm going to toggle over here from this agent tab to offer status. On offer status, it's going to tell you where this is in the workflow. So if I sent that email out, when someone opens it, it'll be open, registered, timestamped. If someone clicks it, it's going to show that an email has been clicked, registered, timestamped. If this has been accepted, it's going to also show that it's been accepted at this time. A couple other buttons that you're seeing here. You can, from here, send a test email, or you can resend that offer. So if you're standing right next to that agent who you sent this to, it says, I never got this. You're like, oh, well, let me resend it to you. You can click this button over here. It's going to resend that exact same email out so you can troubleshoot it, make sure, hey, you received it, great. Or, oh, you didn't get this? Check your spam real quick. Let's figure this out. Okay, so that's what that is. Then you have this watch video over here. This is the same masthead video for the detail page. We have some clickbait over here, ordering sign writers. If someone wants to order a sign writer, they can do that. Let's talk about each one of these materials. Now, every one of these has something that we've already discussed, but I want to touch it real quick. When you click a magnifying glass with this page over here, you're viewing the actual material that was generated. If you're generating this, if you're previewing this material from the view, there's a couple actions you could take from inside of here. You can download this directly from here. You can edit this report and it'll take you down the edit page, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. You can share this directly to Facebook, or you can order this. You can put in submit an order. So we do have some additional things you can do from inside there. You click download. It's going to download this particular asset over here. You're going to have a file. This is going to have the hard copy of the actual asset. When you click share, it's going to open up different options. If you are connected to Twitter and you're signed in, it'll open a tweet post. I don't know exactly what that looks like. It's very rarely used. If you want to email this particular asset to yourself, you're just going to click this and it'll email it to you. If you want to email it to someone else, what's going to happen is it's going to open up your default email client, and this is the link to the asset. You can write a personal note and type out who this is going to go to. One thing to mention here, with all of these things that open up the default email client, if it's not set up, nothing actually happens. So sometimes people click on these things and they think, oh, this isn't working. And they're sort of right, but they're sort of wrong. It's that they don't have it set up on their computer or cell phone. Facebook share, when you click this, it's going to do the same thing that this button does. When you click copy link, similar to the prior links, if this particular asset, not the invite or whatever that's going to be, you can copy this and you can put this link wherever you want. Share on Facebook. When you click it here, it's going to open up a Facebook post where you post directly to Facebook. Every once in a while, someone might need help changing the page that this is getting posted on. That's this button up here. Within Facebook, you can change your page. The next column over here are going to be shop. So if someone wants to order flyers, or someone wants to order postcards or sign writers, they can click these buttons and they're going to be routed to the appropriate vendors. We have one vendor that handles sign writers, and then we have another vendor that handles flyers and postcards. So that's what those buttons are going to be. When you go down here, they just kind of mirror themselves all the way down. When you click this download all button, this is going to download a zip drive that's going to have every single one of these assets and the hard copy versions of it available for you. This next section is hugely important, and that's going to be edit report. Now you might recall before I click this red button that there's a couple other ways to edit this list report. Hopefully you're remembering what those two are. Let's go review them if you don't, and that's directly from this drop down, edit this listing, or from inside this list report, while you're viewing the assets, edit this report, or finally click the red button to edit the report. In a lender account and even in an agent's account, some of our most common requests that someone will want can be done right here. This section right now, you have to have this perfect. You have to know that every single one of the things that you can do here, because most changes people can do themselves. And within the support position, we have a basic standard, which is you take care of someone with as fast as you can, with as much quality as you can, you fix their issue, and you give them education to help them self-satisfy themselves. Because if someone else can make changes that they want in seconds versus waiting for us to get it done, usually they're going to want to do that. So again, know this edit report page intimately. Let's jump into what edits people can do. And we're going to literally go in order from this drop down. First thing, let's assume we're here because something was not what I wanted it to be, or I want something changed within the marketing assets on 33 Vernal Springs. Another thing I want to mention, most of these edits are done instantly. That means when they put in the request to change something, it goes through a regrinding process. In about a few minutes, 2 minutes, they have everything updated with that information. There's a couple of these that are going to be a little bit different. They're going to open up an email client to send us an email with more information. Again, most of them are edits. Okay, the first thing, under property information, this is when you want to change things about the property. If you want to change something like pricing, bedrooms, bathrooms, square feet lot, you go over here and you're going to make that appropriate change. You can see you can edit the price. You can see if you check this box, you're removing the price from all of the marketing materials. Remember the promotional flyer with no pricing because you want to use it for the box? You can have the entire thing be, what's the price? What's the price? So that way you get lots of inquiries. From these drop downs here, you can change the bedrooms, change the bathrooms, change the square footage by typing something out, change the lot size by typing something. You can change the year that it was built. You can change what the garage scenario looks like. Is it a one-car garage? 2? 3? Maybe it has a detached garage. Maybe it has an attached carport or a detached carport. It's a condo. It's not close by. Maybe you have a combination of things. Maybe you have one garage spot and a parking spot too, right? You paid a little bit extra for certain condos to get that. Maybe there's no parking at all because this is a rental in a very dense metropolitan area. You only have street parking, okay? Those are what those changes are. And if you want to have a range, you can then put in a range such as 1 million to 1,100,000, or you can have just that single price in. When you hit submit, reprocess. It'll be done in a matter of a minute or two. So those are your basic property stats. You might want to update the description. So let's say that someone, if I'm an agent and I put a listing on the MLS and I spelled something incorrectly, maybe it's been out. I caught this a week later. Instead, what will happen over here is I can change something. Or what if I want to highlight that there's a price drop? Star, 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 capitalize, price drop, star, 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 you get it. Quick note, you're seeing that character limitation. I've gone over the character limitation, 650 characters. When you hit submit, reprocesses. This property description is then available on all of the materials. The next thing here is updating open house information. Like you saw on the manual list report request, you can then change that open house information by updating that here. You want to add that extra date, add it here. What happens when you don't sell the home after the first weekend, but you have this on your open house flyer or some of the other materials? You can remove the open house info altogether. And you're going to want to do that because even if the day goes by, list reports don't automatically update or refresh. So you're going to want to say that those things are not relevant. Or you might want to remove it because you want to do open houses again the next week, the next weekend. So you might want to just change those dates out, hit submit, reprocess. The next thing here, very similar to open house. You're adding that custom promotional text in instead of this stuff. Instead of the open house, promotional text. Sometimes people don't know the difference in the sense that they're both filled out in the same spot. So you got that there. That loan scenario. What happens if I want to change the loan scenario after? Click this, plug it all back in, hit submit. This will add on the payment flyer, or you can just change the terms if it's already been done. So that's editing the basic property information. Let's jump into photos. Upload or rearrange or select new photos. On the marketing materials that have already been generated, let's start out with the idea that I want to change the photos on those flyers over here. A couple things I could do. I can click select, and I can select new photos. Maybe I have new photos already. Professional photography came out. If my first ones are garbage and I just want to swap them out, I can drag and drop images into here to replace these. Hit submit. The flyers on my, the photos on my flyers have now been updated. I need to send you new photos. In that last scenario I mentioned, I just had a professional photographer come out. For whatever reason, someone might need to send us additional photos. Maybe someone forgot to take a picture of the pool. Or let me use a better example. Let's say that the pool was broken or gross or something like that. It was green. And then I finally, as an agent, got it cleaned up, or the sellers got it cleaned up. And I took a photo of it and I want that added into the list report, maybe as the main image. Here, someone can click this button and default email client opens up where you can see it pre-populates this information. And then people can attach the photos that they want do this and give additional instructions on what they would like to do. Pretend I attached that pool photo. Please make this pool photo the main image on the flyers. Okay, hit send, bada bing, bada boom. Quick note on this, if someone clicks this and this doesn't open up, they're gonna think it's not working. Again, default email client is not set up. Get new photos from the MLS. Maybe someone doesn't want to actually send us the photos, but they know that there are new photos on the MLS. List reports don't automatically update or refresh. We wouldn't know that. So someone needs to tell us to go refetch that information. So if you click get new photos from the MLS, click here to send us a link to find the updated listing. Similar to the reference link from the new list report submit page, someone needs to give us a reference link to that new photos. Here, they can give us the new MLS link, give us a Redfin link, Zillow, Realtor.com, doesn't matter. Something that visually shows it was this, but should be this. And we'll be able to reprocess that report. That's everything as it relates to photos. Let's jump into profile information. Let's say that this list report is complete, but the agent that I have here, Jane Realtor, I need to update her information on this list report. She literally just changed offices or something like that, and we need to change something. Or maybe maybe we had her phone number incorrect, or maybe her website changed. You can change her name as it's displayed. Maybe Jane she goes by Jill. You can change someone's email address only on this list report. Change her phone number, company, website, change her license information. When you hit submit, it's going to update her information on all the marketing assets. Let's say that I want to change her headshot. I put one in there, but it wasn't her most recent one. Maybe she has better ones out there. Very easy. You go here, and you're going to click upload. You're going to put in a new image, and that's it. It's going to start to reprocess this after you after you submit the new image. It's going to go ahead and start reprocessing. Similar to the headshot, you might want to change their logo. Same deal applies. You click upload, drag and drop the image in here. Or select it. Once you have and you upload it and submit it, reprocess all the materials, and that logo updates. The next one is co-branding on this report. Let's say I'm working with Jane here, and Jane is saying, hey, Rod, I just met you. I don't feel comfortable being partnered up with you right away in the beginning. Or let's just say I changed my mind on wanting to be exposed on co-branding altogether. I'm like, hey, I want this to be all about you. You know, everyone's got their own angle on why they would do this. After the fact, if you want to change the co-branding, you can then uncheck these boxes and then remove yourself from co-branding. Or what if you started out by unchecking yourself? And Jane says, oh, I'm okay with you being on there. You might come here to add yourself back on. You change the boxes, the check marks, hit submit, reprocesses, and all the co-branding rules and materials will change after the reprocess. Update report with my new profile information. When someone goes into their account and they change something, and I'm gonna, for the sake of this, say I changed my headshot. It actually, when you change that, inherently it's a natural feeling for you to assume that all of your old stuff is getting updated with that information. That's what most things do. That's not what list reports does because they're static. So let's say that I do change my headshot. let's say I have 1,000 list reports, maybe more, then automatically those aren't going to all go and start reprocessing. Instead, someone can say, update report with my new profile information. We display what that information is. And then when you hit submit, it's going to reprocess with that information. Quick thing to mention, we do know that often when people when people change something, that they do want to update that in their materials. It's a very, very common request. So one of the things that you're not going to see here, but that actually does happen that relates to this, is when I change a headshot or something and I go back into a list report, maybe my most recent ones, because those are the only ones that are relevant to me, there's going to be this blue banner here that's going to give them an opportunity to click a couple buttons over here on the right that say update this report or don't update this report, because maybe you don't want to. Maybe your information's changed just on one list report because that one's different or in another state that you work in. That's what will happen. Naturally, because this is a little bit of a gap in our product, there's also the ability to update that report with agent's new information. So maybe an agent, and this actually is probably a perfect example, that headshot wasn't this one, but it's now this one. So if I want to change this, what's going to happen is I'm going to be displayed what the most current information is for that particular agent. Pretend this headshot just was changed out 5 minutes ago. I can hit submit and it'll pull in my partnered agent's new information. The final thing as it relates to profile information is what happens if you realize that that agent is a Keller Williams agent and they might want to see a Keller Williams color palette. They just didn't know it existed in the beginning. After the fact, you can change the entire marketing kit to whatever particular color palette theme that you'd like over here, hit submit, reprocess that report. So that's going to be all of the changes as it relates to the profile information within the instant edits. Hopefully, again, you guys are really absorbed in what's happening here. These are crucial. We only have one last section over here, but these kind of have a couple different options, so I'm going to explain these. So we're going to start out by discussing schools. First thing to go over here is remove school infographic. I'm not going to go in order on this one because there's a reason. Every once in a while, there's a home that's for sale in a really bad school district. So bad that you know that those schools, if anybody even knows what they are, you don't want people to know, right? So I'm just going to throw out a school. Let's call it ABC High School. There was 3 deaths that occurred on campus last month. You don't want anybody to know that this home's in ABC High School, right? So you might remove the entire school infographics from all of the materials. That one infographic is completely gone everywhere where marketing materials are generated. Now, there are different iterations of changing the school information. So let's look at the next one. Remove school ratings. Maybe it's not that extreme where people are dying on campus or getting murdered on campus, whatever you want to call it. Maybe though that the scores maybe the scores are just not that great. Okay. Maybe their scores, like it's not the worst, but they're like 4s and 5s. And you know that if someone buys on the next street over, they're in a different school district that it's 7s and 8s. You might want to remove the school ratings by checking this box over here, hitting submit. It removes just the scores. Now, the next thing that we're going to look at though is actually editing all of the school information. Lots of different reasons why someone might want to change this information. So to start out with, schools across the entire US have different rules around how they're assigned. In some areas, if your house is here, you don't have any choice. They're assigned to these 3 schools or 2 schools or 4 schools. That's the way that district's set up. In other areas, you select which school you want your kids to go to, or maybe for just high school. So different iterations of this. Now, our data comes from greatschools.org, which is industry leader in this particular space. So this is going to be pretty accurate. But where someone wants to make a change in their schools, this is where they do it. Let's say that I want to change this university high school to something different that's over there, because I know that there's another option. You can select from the drop-down. It'll display other options if there are. This one doesn't obviously have this here, but if there are options, then it's going to be displayed over here. Now, another thing is, let's say that there's a brand new high school and it hasn't even been accounted for. I literally want to pretend that this school, the first day was yesterday, that it was there. Greatschools.org probably isn't going to know about it. So if this is something brand new and it's not University High School, let's call it Northwood High School, then you can type that in manually over here, and it probably isn't going to have ratings. So when you do 0, it's going to by default not show the rating. By the way, let's say that these ratings changed. We do give people the ability to actually update this, which seems a little bit unusual, but people have the flexibility to change stuff however they want. So again, you can type that out. Maybe the structure of these schools has changed. Maybe Rancho is no longer 7 through 8. It's actually just 7 only. And that Northwood is now 8 to 12. So you can edit anything you want over here and highlight things however you want. This is intended to be the assigned schools. If you hit submit, it's going to reprocess and display just those schools however you want them to. The final thing to go over is the outdoor information. So on the outdoor infographics, as you'll recall, there's going to be the total number of outdoor activities on the right-hand side, and the most popular ones based off of check-in activity and rating on the left. Let's talk about those real quick. What happens when golf courses close down? Maybe you know something. Maybe there was only one golf course within 10 miles, and that just closed down yesterday. You want to change that? You can update those numbers over here on the right on those totals. The next things here, though, are going to be actually swapping out those pieces of information. Maybe even though Seacliff Country Club is the most popular one based off of check-in activity, maybe there's something closer that I want to display. Maybe it's Meadowlark. You can select from that drop-down. It updates that information, and you're good to go there. If you want to change a different type, maybe I want to add something here. I don't even know if there's going to be one here, but let's find out. Maybe there's a lake close by. Let's see if we get lucky. Nope, no lakes that we can find. Let's try, maybe there's a hiking trail. No hiking trail. Let's say that I want to add maybe an extra park. You can add in an extra park over here, and you'll be able to add that in. You can also just delete these altogether, and it won't actually show those. But you can see the flexibility. So if you want to change something out, maybe you want to show more parks. Maybe this thing you want to highlight that there's 3 parks within 2 miles. You can change those things out, change the distances, hit submit, and that's going to update on that particular list report. So again, we are looking at a lender account here, and there's lots of edits that can be done. And we've done a lot of the thinking for you, as you're going to learn about macros in probably a couple of days over here. But most things people can do themselves if they'd like to do it. Now, when they don't see the option that they're looking for here, there's an option to click submit to send a question to us. And this is similar to another tab, which we're going to discuss in a little bit. But I want to stop right here for right now and take a small break. Again, we went over the masthead videos. We went over the new list report. We went over all of the things that you can do within this new list report submission page. We went through the invite. As you'll recall, you can invite agents that aren't paired up. You see what happens when someone is paired up. You've got that nest URL link that you can utilize from here. You can see what the flow looks like. We went over your pending invites, people you're trying to connect with but haven't. We went over your paired agents. We went over going over your different list reports that you might need to revisit again, that are in process on something, all of your list reports. We went over to search to find certain list reports if you have a lot. We went over each list report's line. You can see contact information, company information, the listing, the address, the particular date that it was added. Remember, we went over the different types of report status. This green one, the green one with wings, autopilot requesting list report on behalf of lender. The gold ribbon, my partner requested it. Offer status. When you send that entire marketing kit from the send offer button, this is where you're going to see the status. And you'll recall here that we have those drop downs where you can archive this listing when you're done with it, or you can go straight to that edit, right? We spend a lot of time there. And then you'll recall from inside here the different iterations of being able to send that email offer or not. If you have sent it, you'll recall the tracking, right? So you know when it's been sent, you know when it's been opened, you know when it's been clicked, you know when it's been accepted. From here, all of the different views that you can do on each asset, the ability to download, the different abilities to share, right? Using the link, email to yourself, email to someone else, direct post to Facebook, the shop orders you can place, that the download button allows you to get that entire marketing kit in a single zip drive. So that's a lot of information. It's going to be part one over here, and the other ones will go over the rest of these tabs. All right. Thanks, guys.